Washing your hands and arms is extremely important to both protecting yourself as well as preventing transmission of infectious agents to others. If your hands are visibly soiled, soap is the only option. A hand sanitizer is not going to remove the dirt and blood from your hands. However, if your skin is not soiled and you do not have access to water and soap source, then a hand sanitizer is a quick and convenient tool to use and keep in the vehicle and workplace. The key factor that we are presented with is the need to remove the infectious agent from our hands. Hand sanitizers only kill or put to sleep the majority of what is on your skin, whereas soap acts as a lubricant and removes the infectious agent. You will never get everything off in either case, and you don't have to. Before we soap up our hands, we want to turn on the water and rinse our hands, get all of the surface areas of our hands and wrists wet. This is what's going to allow the soap to activate and allow the bubbles to be created. Once our hands are nice and wet, we want to soap up our hands, and we want to get all of the surfaces of our hands. We want to get between the fingers. We want to make sure we get the backs of our hands. We want to get partway up our wrists as well. Now we want to soap our hands up and rub them together for at least 20 seconds. The longer the better. The big part of this is to make sure that we get lots of bubbles. Those bubbles are again going to lift those items off of our skin, out of the grooves of our hands, and when we do rinse our hands, that's going to allow the debris, those germs, that bacteria to rinse off easily without getting trapped in any of the cracks or the crevices that we naturally have in our hands. Now when drying our hands, the best way to dry your hands is to use a air-based blowing system, but if that's not available, you can really use any type of towel. Paper towels are great because we can dry our hands and then throw them away, leaving the germs behind that may be collected. But any type of towel. A hand towel is great. We do want to change them out frequently, especially during flu season or any time when there's somebody in the house that or the workplace that is sick, because this will prevent us from passing those germs along to the next person. The other factor that comes into play is antimicrobial versus non-antimicrobial. Antimicrobial soap works in the same way as a hand sanitizer. It kills the bacteria on your skin. Now, in many cases, the general viewpoint would be that this is a good thing. Well, unfortunately, there is another factor involved. You see, this includes not just the bad bacteria. It kills the good bacteria too. Antimicrobial soap should be reserved for cases where you have been potentially exposed. In most cases, all you need is basic soap that will lubricate your skin and create lots of bubbles to lift contaminants out of the grooves. When doing laundry, the same concept applies. Bubbles are good and lift contaminants out of the weave of the fabric. It may be obvious that hands should be washed after bare-handedly touching inanimate objects that may be contaminated as well as soiled. The less common occurrence for hand washing that we do not want to forget is prior to putting gloves on as well as after taking gloves off. This may not sound as obvious, but to put it into context, you always have bacteria on your skin. Not that it's enough to hurt you or even harmful bacteria. We wash our hands prior to placing gloves over them to reduce the amount of bacteria present. Gloves are impermeable surfaces, which will trap in moisture produced by sweat, so having clean, dry hands will reduce the bacteria available to multiply. Of course, we will never remove everything, and bacteria will continue to grow. So it is important to wash our hands after removing gloves as well. This also ensures that if the gloves allowed anything in through the cuff, or if something degraded the glove, you're at least covered. When you use a soap dispenser, like the one in the picture, where does the soap come from within the bottle? If you said it comes from the bottom of the bottle, you're correct. But what is in the bottle is being pumped out. Shouldn't this create a vacuum crushing the bottle? The reason the bottle does not crush is because air is entering the bottle to replace the soap. This means the clear space at the top is now filled with air from your bathroom. Ew. Kind of gross to think about, huh? This is fine as long as we are always getting clean soap from the bottom, right? Well, tipping the bottle or shaking it up can place clean soap in contact with the contaminated walls of the bottle. Never thought about that, huh? This is the reason that the soap dispensers in the public restrooms oftentimes contain bags inside. Part of this is for easy cleanup and change of the soap, therefore no pouring involved. But from an infection control standpoint, this is a great feature. Soap comes out and the contaminated air does not replace it, hence why the bottle collapses. To ensure that the soap in your workplace stays sanitary, it is best to not refill bottles before they're completely empty. At that point, rinse them out and leave them upside down to air dry. Use a different soap container in the meanwhile. Once air dried, then it is safe to refill the soap and lotion containers. Washing our hands or using alcohol-based hand sanitizers can dry out our skin, leading to cracks. Any opening to the skin is an opening in the primary barrier our bodies have against infectious agents and other contaminants. It is important to prevent cracking of the skin by using hand lotions. The downside, however, is many lotions available on the retail market may smell great and feel great, but they contain ingredients that can compromise the integrity of our gloves, placing us at risk without any evidence that the glove let the infectious agents in. For this reason, use lotions that are safe for use with medical-grade gloves. The best thing to do is call or email the manufacturer of the gloves and reference the ingredients in the lotion to see if they are appropriate. If you purchase lotion that is designed for healthcare, you're covered. Another thing that can compromise the integrity of gloves is anything sharp that can puncture through. This includes long or sharp fingernails and jewelry. Artificial fingernails and jewelry with lots of crevices or spaces pose an additional issue. They can trap microorganisms in easily and release when working with food or interacting with your family or colleagues. Artificial nails have layers, unlike real nails. The layers are not visible to the naked eye and pose a hazard in trapping microorganisms. There was a case many years ago that involved a newborn baby dying due to microorganisms that were trapped in the artificial nails of a neonatal nurse. Now think if you brought home microorganisms to your family. Since this incident, artificial nails have been banned at most healthcare facilities across the country for all employees with patient contact, and in more recent years, that ban has been extended to administrators as well.